Okay, this is the walkthrough pre-plan of Parker Place at 7960 Center Street. It's the large retirement community in the city we're all pretty well aware of. We run nearly 300 calls a year there. Certainly out of Station 3 you're well aware of how squad calls work there. But this is going to be just a kind of walkthrough like we do if we went out to the place as a shift, just to get an overview of the building protection features, the fire loads, the danger areas and stuff like that if we did ever have a working incident in the building, outside of just all the squad calls we go on. So here's the plot view of the building. We have Route 90 running this side of the building over here, 84 this way, and Station 3 is obviously in that same direction. There's the satellite image of it. There are some villas out here that are cluster style homes. I think there's 4 residents in each of the villas, and then some garages over here that are also part of the same complex. The villas are, I think, half occupied at the moment, and I think the people that live in them are typically a little more independent than the other ones. The layout of them is pretty much like any other home in our city. So here's a 360-degree tour of the building, starting from the A side and working our way around the building. Get a feel quickly for how large the building is, and then kind of just see how many variables there are. There really isn't an A, B, C, D side of this building, so it's going to be a little more complex on an incident, naming our sides and creating sectors and all that kind of stuff, divisions and everything. So it's going to be an incident command challenge if we're working on anything inside this building. So here's the entrance way, just to our left there where we come in. We're standing at about the sign right now. Looking at the front canopy, we have our FTC straight ahead of us with the hydrant right out front, and our front door to the property right there. As we get closer, this would be about where the second due would position their engine to get the connection. First due is going to go, much like maybe the mall or somewhere else, they're going to go to the area of the working incident. Being as large as this building is, the front door might not always be the choice. A lot of times, if we're going to have something showing from this building, say off the D or C side, you're going to get the initial attack engine as close as we can get over to there. You may even swallow up your second engine for support on that, but the second or third due, someone's going to need to get assigned to this pretty quickly because we want to get those sprinklers operating effectively. You see it's the storage connection like we are starting to have and everything. The hydrant may even end up that as well, but as for now, the FTC is a storage connection. So get your engine in place for that, and the pump operator will be kind of committed to that for that time being. Here's the canopy view just from the other side as we'd enter the structure for any common squad call. Obviously, we may need to do this to get the Knox key if it's an after-hours call or for some reason staff's not there, but typically they're going to let you in anyway. Just walking up the sidewalk, there's our front door. Could be easily forced if need be, but we do have the Knox box right there on the right side. There you see the Knox box, the intercom system if we had to call in, and the swipe card there, which I don't believe we have access to, but we do get keys to everything else in the building in that Knox box there. There's the foyer beyond the front doors there. Inside we have our main or satellite annunciator panel at the front door, but it does have the phone number to the alarm company written on it, as well as the alarm code for silencing and checking status of zones and stuff like that. But we will get our readout on this panel here so we can see what's alarming, where it's at. If we do have some smoke, we might be able to localize where the fire is at more effectively with this annunciator panel, what floor we're on, what wing we're in. So mainly what we're looking to do with this pre-plan, this walkthrough, I'm going to show the mechanical room. It's got a lot of features, or a lot of rather things in it that would be key to us if we do have an incident in the building, or that could cause an incident in the building. The fire protective features of the building, what it has, what it doesn't have. It does lack probably more than it has for a building of this size and this makeup and of this occupant load. Utility control considerations, things that we may need to have in the event of a salvage operation. We have a burst pipe or anything like that. Quick look at the attic. There's unprotected areas and protected areas, and the building itself is split up into two different ratings: a residential and a commercial. And the residential is protected just like a home in our city would be, where the commercial's got more of a upgraded, or what we'd expect the whole building to be, type protection system. And then some quick fire attack considerations, using the structure to our advantage. So here's our walk through the front door to the mechanical room. Just a quick, we walked right up that sidewalk under the canopy, and we're going to get ourselves to the mechanical room, also where the main fire alarm panel is and a lot of other building protection systems are. So here's the door of the mechanical equipment room that we just walked through. On the inside, just to our left, we have the main fire alarm panel. We'll have the batteries for the fire alarm system for the backup to keep the panel going in the event of a power outage. Again, it's got the codes, the phone number, the silence code, the phone number up here, the display to check our zones, the indicator lights to let us know what's going on if it's a trouble, if it's in supervisory mode, if we have a general alarm, we need to check the display to see what's going on, and to tell if the system's been silenced or if we have silenced the system, and also where we'd get a reset. This gives us exactly the same thing that the front door does. The only thing on here is we have some hard buttons on the inside, and again the battery and the circuitry for the display itself, or the panel itself, are on the inside, but this mirrors the one by the front door, which is obviously a lot more convenient for us, and the one we're going to go to in the event where there's an incident here. We're not going to try and work our way to the mechanical room just to see the panel, but we need to get here anyway. This is also where we have the risers. 4 zones, 3 of them are wet, one of them is a dry zone over here. That's going to be in our attic space that is sprinklered. It's an unheated area, so it's going to be a dry system. The rest of the sprinklers for what is protected in the building are right here, and if we need to turn them off or control them in the event of a salvage operation, post-fire, or broken line, here's where we would come for that as well. The elevator equipment room for the building is located in this mechanical room too. It's a separate room within the mechanical room, so we got to go through 2 doors to get to the elevator equipment. So we come through that mechanical door we just did, and off to the left-hand side is the equipment room. Inside we have our elevator pump and our power controls. Like to keep this one on. This is the lights and the thing in the elevator if we do have a stuck elevator or something like that, and we're going to need to shut this circuit here off. So we can leave the light panel on so that the occupants of the elevator have lights and power, but we'll do our diligence for our safety by shutting the power to the car itself off, or the pump itself off rather, so the car won't move inadvertently or unintended. And then obviously if we wanted to lower it, we're going to look for the manual switch. It's going to be in the pump there, in the hydraulic pit. And here's the T-handle switch right here. You'd crack that to the left slowly. The fluid would drain back into the pit and the car would come down. We have to resecured the power and all else to made contact with the occupants of the elevator and all that stuff and coordinated the effort. That's pretty much it for the mechanical room. There are some hot water tanks in there. There's a water purification system in there. So there's the potential for some water failure, leakage and stuff in there. But there's a drain in the room, and it's a self-contained room with a concrete floor. So not going to get a whole lot of that. But we may need to go there to control the water in another area of the building that's leaked. And there is multiple ways to do that in this building. Now we're going to walk up to the upper levels of the building. That's 3 stories. We're going to walk up to the 3rd story and take a look at the fire protection features of the middle of the building. So here we are now at the atrium that we just walked up to. We have a drop fire door right in front of us here. Here's the tracks. There's one here. There's a track there. The center of the building here is a 3-story, really a 4-story atrium that comes from the lobby in the main dining area. And in order to cut off any fire flow from lower floors to upper floors, this is required to basically be fire doored. So being that we don't have the regular door to the hallway here, where we would enter the other parts of the building, the other wings, this will act as the fire door to separate and make that center of the building a separate structure actually, and that's got a different fire protection setup than the rest of the building does. So here's our drop for our door right here. The motor is above the ceiling here. There's the track that it's going to ride down. These are automatically going to drop with an alarm in a specific area. And here's beyond that into the atrium. This is now a feature that we could take advantage of if we had a fire in that common area. All those doors are going to have dropped. They're going to have isolated to the living areas of the building, the wings of the building where the residents are, and it will help us contain our fire to one portion of the building. We can get to these windows. We're going to see it in a moment where we go to get to these windows, but these are all functioning windows, and we can open them to ventilate and help out with a fire in that main area, the atrium area of the building. Right there you can see these windows swing open from the outside up at the top. There's no locks or anything on them because there's no way to get up there short of coming up our department ladders on the outside or up the building steps on the inside. So we can get up there. It's a good assignment if we're fighting a fire in that center area to get someone to this point to maybe open those windows and ventilation right there. It is a big area. It can collect a lot of heat. Here we go. We're going to take a quick walk through the attic and just see the lumber yard that it is of exposed combustible materials with electrical running through it and a bunch of other things, and we'll see that as we move through. We'll make note of a few different things that are obvious dangers and things that would be of concern, and you can see why a fire in this area where it's unprotected as well. Most of this attic in this building is unsprinklered. Why it's a losing cause that we're going to be more worried about trying to slow down and evacuate residents. Okay, we're now on the middle roof area right next to the atrium windows that we showed earlier. We just came out that door from the right wing. It would be maybe from the AB side of the building kind of wing, up the stairs, through a few doors, and got ourselves to the attic. Through the attic we got out to this area here. This could be a strategic area for ventilation and even fire attack if we do have a fire through the walls of these, or through the door here in the attic area, which runs this way down the building, and then on the other side we'll see that as well. We do have a large load here on both sides. We have the HVAC units. We got to keep that in mind. If you're operating on that first floor in the lobby, and we're taking a lot of heat rather in the atrium, you have some heavy loads. There's another HVAC unit right here. This is the other wing through this door, which runs this way down to the left if you're looking at the front of the structure. And here's our atrium window right here where we had that open earlier. This is a shot back at the front parking lot. This is Center Street here, 615, so we're going to have our engine stationed here for these FDC. But what we can do is use our ladder truck up to this point. If we needed to make an attack on either the attic spaces or get up there to ventilate the atrium, we could do that quickly and effectively with the ladder truck, not having to go through the building potentially. It's just an option to keep in mind for a quick attack on the attic. It's going to get you up there and get water on that attic a lot faster than you're going to get it by hauling up the stairs. We all remember the walk up the stairs that we took. It's windy. It's got a lot of turns. It's going to be a manpower, labor intensive trek up the stairs versus getting up there with our ladder truck and using it for what it's meant for. Just quickly on the utility systems, the controls. places that we'll find things, considerations again, maybe post-fire or in the event of just a salvage operation, a water leak, roof leaks, things like that that we need to control different utilities. We have in every hallway outside of the units, this is the panel for the units, and you can see right here it tells you what they're for. It's a 3-phase 4-wire panel, 208, 120, just like a home circuit panel. And here's the circuits for the unit that it serves. It's outside in the hallway, readily accessible for us if we did need to shut off circuits in a panel. So we had individual fire in a unit, we stopped it. We can come out here and control power just like we would on a house where we go and flip the main breaker off. We can come out here and shut these breakers off. Again, if we don't need to shut them all off for FIU considerations, maybe get a picture and then shut them off if they need to be, but or make a note of what was tripped, stuff like that. But these are essentially the home panel for each unit in the residence. They're located in the hallway in the common area right there for you to find. Here we are back on the back side of the structure. We'll call it the C side. It is winding and kind of, takes two different paths, but we have our backup generator located over here. So if you make a right at the front of the building and go around until you can't drive anymore, you pull right up to this thing and find this. This could be important if we do kill power or power is shut off or turned off during an incident, and then we now have a re-energized building, but we need the power shut off. We'd have to come here. We can turn off the generator right here. Closing a main switch in the mechanical room could actually cause this generator to start. Power failures from a fire or water could cause this generator to start, and we may want it off. We may need to come back here to control power. You can see right here we have a gas valve on it, and there is also inside a compartment on the side a main switch to shut this generator down if we need the power off in the building. Here we have in the hallways outside every unit there is hot and cold water shut off. So if we do have a water leak in any of the units, these are located right above the door to the unit, somewhere along the front of the unit anyhow. But they're indicated what panel to pop if we need to go in there and turn the valve off. They're just quarter turn plumbing valves above these points. We can go in there, turn the valve off, and stop the flow of water if we have a broken pipe, broken line, whatever. Again, just a regular salvage call or from a working incident. But these are easy to find. They made it real easy for us to locate them. They use them for when they're doing utilities or repairs, but we can also use them for salvage and all that. They're really well marked. Obviously, hot and cold isn't going to be a huge issue. We'll go in and just shut them both off. Here's their kitchen. They have a full-on hood system, just like any big restaurant in the city. Got the Ansel system. We'll probably come after this with release, but here's where the bottles are located in the back wall of the kitchen. They have the full hooded system. We could have an incident in here. This is obviously a likely spot for something to start for us, being that there's a lot of heat sources. Just know that they do have a full service, full commercial kitchen in there, but they have the whole hood system just like everyone else would be required. Here's a quick walk from the front door, from the foyer into the front office. In the front office, there's a closet in the back corner with some water control in there. Not in a place you'd expect it. You expect everything to be in the mechanical office or maybe even over by the kitchen, but they do have their main residential water supply coming through a closet in the front office, the main office for the building where the managers would be and all that. And here's how we get there. So here's inside that closet. You see just a giant quarter turn valve, and there's also on the iron pipe another control valve to close that down. So again, if we have a water leak situation or something like that, we may need to come here if we're unable to locate it or shut it off with smaller valves down the line or at the unit or in the mechanical room. This will get everything. So if we have a water situation, this is a good spot to come. You know you're going to get control of the water utility and shut down anything we need for salvage.